The basement. We decided to use the basement as one of the settings for our thriller film, as it is a secluded underground area, instantly evoking questions from the audience. The lack of lighting casts shadows across the room, adding suspense and an element of fear to the surroundings. We tested different amounts of light to see which would portray our storyline best. We found that low lighting was useful in making the antagonist appear more sinister and interesting to the audience. The basement has an unwelcoming feel to it, making the perfect place for our storyline. As well as this, it appears that it is uncared for and has added extras such as dust and old furniture, which are typical conventions of thriller settings. We discovered when inside the basement that footsteps could be heard from above. If we use this sound diegetically in the film opening, it will inform the audience that the location is underground. The use of background sound adds effect to the scene, making it much more atmospheric. The basement is the first location that will be seen in our thriller film opening.
The barn. We decided to use an old farm barn as our next main location as it fitted perfectly into our storyline. The storyline consists of a female protagonist hiding some money. She is then kidnapped by two male antagonists and taken to the basement, our first location, and tied up. The woman then escapes, runs through the house and into the garden before eventually finding a barn to hide in. She is then found by the kidnappers, carried into the yard and thrown into the boot of a car. The barn fitted extremely well into our storyline as it provides somewhere for the character to hide. It also has an eerie feel to it as it is very dark and isolated. The barn is filled with discarded tyres and old farm equipment. This adds thrill to the film as it looks realistically abandoned. There is also little lights coming through, making the area very dark and gloomy, so that the actors could be seen better when we used small floodlights and positioned them around the room. We found that this creates shadows in different directions around the room, adding an extra effect. We also found that the barn gave us an opportunity for a vast range of different camera shots. For example, we could use the beams to get a high angle shot or a bird's eye view.
The yard. After our protagonist is found, she is carried from the barn out into a yard in which a getaway car is parked. The yard is quite a light and open space which is juxtaposed against our other locations. This contrast will assist in keeping the audience engaged. It is also a convenient space in that we need to be able to park a car there and see all that is going on in the shop. This is the perfect location for long shots and tracking shots, alongside the garden in which we will show the character running before reaching the barn. Complications. Originally we decided to use the forest as a location for our thriller film opening. This is because it worked well with our storyline and provided somewhere for the character to hide. Upon attempting to film there on various occasions, we came across a number of complications. This included there only being an hour-long window of perfect lighting before it was either too light or too dark to film. We attempted to resolve this by using torches and a light ring on the camera, but we found this to be unsuccessful as it was such an open area. As well as this, we wanted to use the idea of a getaway car on a trunk shot. This became a problem as the wood is located on an extremely muddy track. Unfortunately, as it's winter, we discovered that the car gets stuck when driven through this mud. There was also a long distance between the basement and the forest, so we'd have to spend a long time filming the transition, or would have to cut it up into smaller sections with skilled editing. We spent a long time thinking of potential locations to replace this one before coming across the farm barn and adjusting the plot slightly to fit with this.